Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 17th, 2025. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. Hopefully you humped and you didn't get humped. Unless you're into that, unless that's what you're into for the day, by all means, go off. Go at it. Like rabbits. No. My day was good. It was solid. I enjoyed the day. It was a good Wednesday. I'm making that canon. I'm making that fact. I feel like towards the tail end of the day, I think my brain wanted to kind of make the worst of a good day, a worst of a good thing. I don't know why, but sometimes it's just how I'm wired. But I do want to say a special shout out to a couple of the homies that really just let me, talk my shit or just like really vent, whatever you want to call it. And that was very helpful. That was very nice. It was very clutch of them. I appreciate them for that. Hearts for that. But let's just run through the day, because like I said, overall the day was good, and I'm happy to talk about it. We got up, we got to work, pretty reasonable time. I'm still a bit behind the ball. I'm not as early as I want to be. We still got to lock in a little bit harder, a little bit tighter for that. But overall, got to work okay. Work was it was interesting in the top of the day, because I go to my crusher, and sure enough, that red light is blinking. And my dear listeners know, longtime listeners know, that's not a good sign. You do not, generally when you see a blinking red light, you're generally like, uh-oh, that's not good. So yeah, that applies here to my compactor. And sure enough, it was about to be filled. And I'm like, we're at the top of the day. So that means the Rumpke just didn't come? Or maybe they don't come? What's going to happen? What's the fate of the day? So sure enough, I get right into it, maybe 30 minutes in, not even, the crusher fills up. It's done. We're cooked. We're toast. So I was like, that's not good. I know that the topsiders are going to be upset. They're going to be mad. They're going to want to know what's going on. How are we going to fix this? When's Rumpke going to get here? And of course, we don't have the answers downstairs. We're just waiting just like y'all are. But that kind of put me in a situation where I'm like, well, just throw your hands up and just go hang out in maintenance, man. Just go yap with the maintenance heads. You know what I mean? And that's what we did. They were on a special project where they were we have these, I call them Zambonis, but essentially they're just, the cleaning vehicles that you drive around on, whatever. And our newest one had a roll cage. And I guess someone suggested in a safety meeting that both of them should have a roll cage. That would be smart. So that way no boxes fall on you while you're doing your thing. Which, to be fair, that is a valid idea. Because I've definitely just been chilling, minding my own business, mashing some trash, and I've just seen a box fall over. Usually I think that happens from someone, who's working the aisles, picking up, boxes off of their equipment. I forget what they're called, like, not cherry picker, but that's essentially what we're talking about here, that kind of stuff. And sometimes you don't put a box up all the way just quite right, and then it can potentially fall over. So, that's a potential lifesaver, putting that up. Needless to say, we were like, okay, whatever, this is some, whatever work. It's kind of like, filler almost, it felt like today. So I was hanging out with them for about, honestly, I think it was about a good hour and a half or so, because it took Rumpke some time to finally get there. Then they get there, they take out the trash compactor, and they don't replace it. And the mystery's still out. The jury's still out on why that happened. If I get an answer on that, I will definitely let y'all know. I'll come back with an update on that on the personal news. But yeah, they just left it. And I was like, oh, that's great. So I'm glad I didn't let them know that they were switching it out. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. So I think essentially it wound up being 2 whole hours of me not working, not doing a damn thing. And then I take my first break, and then I get back to work. So that was more or less the whole day in terms of like shenanigans, what went down. That being said, I was expecting to be up against it. I was expecting to see, supervisors, leads, all up in my face, asking all these annoying questions. It really wasn't too bad. I maybe had one conversation with the lead up from upstairs, And, we were good to go. And the work in and of itself was not too busy, not too hectic. I got a little bit of help, just enough. And things were solid. Things were golden. So that was my work day. After work, we went to the gym. Gym was a bit busy for a Wednesday. All the Smith machines were taken up. Didn't really get any time on them. But I came up with a Cracker Jack idea for substitution. And I think essentially I'm just going to, maybe from now on, if I have the opportunity, if the space is available, just double up on free weights. And maybe I do the exact same thing like in reverse with the Smith machine, where if I can get on a Smith machine and the free weights look like they're going to be busy, I just double up my sets. So therefore, I can more or less get an equivalent workout because I'm essentially hitting the same spots. The movements aren't too crazy different. So I was like, man, Isaiah, it's crazy that it's been over a year and you're just now coming up with this fucking awesome idea. But hey, the mind moves in its own way, at its own pace. So that being said, the pump did get done, and it was a good workout session. We enjoyed it. Like I said, I think that's where my day, though, the bad brain worm started to kind of wiggle around in my brain, and I was just kind of thinking about all my fuck ups, all my problems, where am I a bad person, all this kind of shit. And like I said, that's when a couple of the talk down sessions kind of got worked through. Actually, one was in the middle of the day, and the other one was like at the gym. So yeah, that was my whole day. Overall, though, it's been a good day. A little bit of a food corner, a little bit of an aside. We got some ice cream. We had the cone come through. I wonder if this is going to be the last time the cone comes for the year. Because, summer is almost over, right? But that being said, let's not worry about that. I got the chocolate vanilla swirl in a cone, in a cup. Or on a cone in a cup. That's how you should say it. That's right. And it was wonderful. It was nice. It was good. Paired well with my cheese, popcorn, and energy drink, my Nas. So yes, very nice, very yummy. But yeah, that was my day. That was the ups, that was the downs, that was all around. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. Bit of side news before we gear up for the big shit, the big things. Trump is on a visit. He went to the he went to good old London, right? England, whatever the fuck. This is his second big visit, I think, this term. And he got to hang out in the Windsor with fucking King Charles III or whatever the fuck, old sausage fingers, as I like to call him. And that he loves it. He loves whenever he's getting wined and dined and maybe even 69 by some great royal or great, prince, king, whatever. He likes that shit. He likes being catered to. He likes his ego stroked a bit, right? And apparently there's supposed to be a little pleasure, a little business on this trip. He's supposed to be potentially, I think, signing some kind of laws or whatever, something about data centers and stuff, which we all need more of. Data centers to make more AI so that we can fucking drain the world faster. I love that for us. That's so great. And I'm sure there's some other shit too. They're trying to curry some favor or something out of this guy, out of this fucking orange motherfucker. But I don't care about it. I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm going to fucking England, going to jolly old London, I'm not trying to see the fucking king. I'm not trying to see a fucking prince in that motherfucker. I'm going to go to the zoo. I'm going to, I guess, eat some mushy peas and some shitty fucking fries and fish. That is what I'm going to the fucking goddamn London for, right? Maybe see Big Ben and fucking Tower. I don't know, man. That shit's kind of snoozable to me. I'm not interested. But old Trump, he's out and about. He's living his life. Anyway, let me live my life. Let me get a little La Vida Loca in this motherfucker. Okay. NPR. A shooting in Pennsylvania has left 3 officers dead and 2 injured. 3 law enforcement officers were killed and 2 were injured in a shooting in southern Pennsylvania, authorities said Wednesday. Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner Colonel Christopher Paris said during a press conference that the violence erupted in North Corderis, we're gonna say Corderis Township in York County. Paris said the officers were following up on a domestic-related investigation that began Tuesday. 5 officers were shot Wednesday afternoon, according to Paris. He said the 2 wounded officers are at a hospital where they are in critical but stable condition. The gunman was fatally shot by police and there is no active threat, he added. Paris said he could not provide further details. The York District Attorney is expected to release more information later Wednesday evening, he added. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who traveled to the scene, said it was an absolute tragic and devastating day for the country and the state. Grieve for the loss of life and 3 precious souls who served this country, he said. And we continue to pray for the full recovery of those who are dealing with their wounds. Shapiro continued, this kind of violence isn't okay. We need to do better as a society. Man, Shapiro, you really said it best, brother. Thank you, dude. Wow. Good take. Sorry, it's just, it's annoying. Like, okay, yeah, yes, this is bad. We need to do something about it. And maybe, I don't know, doing thoughts and prayers and yapping about it isn't going to change anything. We actually need to, like, make real action so that these things aren't as, readily accessible to happen as often as they do. But I know, that is not what we're going to be doing anytime soon, especially in fucking America. So, what is the point? That falls on deaf ears, right? So I guess Shapiro's right. Yeah, dude, it's not okay. Stop the violence. Cool. I guess that leads me to my last part. Condolences. I've said this before. It's something that, I struggle with. I'm not going to lie to you, because it's like we're talking about cops. We're talking about like motherfuckers in military and shit like that. It is hard. It is. I get it though. Yes, the families and things like that. And I don't necessarily equate these to, oh, this is exactly the same as like the Charlie Kirk thing or whatever. These are more closer to working class normal people like you and I. But they did still choose to, work in law enforcement or, what have you. And, uphold that kind of shit. So I don't know. But that being said, if they're on a fucking beat, they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to handle I don't know what the domestic incident was that they were investigating. You know what I mean? And, loss of life does fucking suck. I think we can all agree on that. It doesn't matter who that happens to, whether you fuck with that person or not. But yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I know I could have just said that condolences and just kept it a buck, but I don't know. Like I said, sometimes this podcast is me exploring my own feelings, as I'm recording this shit. What can I say? Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Also, we'll be back on this if I get any more details. I definitely want to come back to this, just because you always want to know more, whether or not that changes the situation or not. I think it's insight, right? And I think, in this story here, I'd like to know more, but let's get into it. Suspect in custody after ramming car into FBI gate in act of terror, officials say. A Pennsylvania man was apprehended after he drove his car into a metal gate at the FBI building in Pittsburgh early on Wednesday. A ramming that federal law enforcement officials described as intentional. Donald Henson of Penn Hills allegedly drove at a high rate of speed towards the main entrance gate at about 2:40 a.m. FBI Special Agent in charge Christopher Giordano said during a press briefing. The FBI confirmed late Wednesday morning that Henson was apprehended a short time ago. We look at this as an act of terror against the FBI, Giordano said earlier on Wednesday. This was a targeted attack on this building. There was some vulgarity scrawled on the side of the vehicle, the FBI said. The full details of what was written were not immediately clear, Giordano said, adding there appeared to be a reference to suicide. Officials said no one was injured in the ramming. So that's good. You know what I mean? Once again, I know it's like, well, didn't you just like, oh, you're conflicted. I remember you were conflicted. Look, I'm happy to see that no one was fucking hurt here. Also, I was going to get to this in the end, but I kind of just want to say it now. It's crazy to me that this is so eerily familiar to, and once again, I can't remember the exact time, but I know this was like a thing that took place in good old Ohio. But an FBI building was attacked by a guy with a nail gun. Now that was completely some other shit. I believe that was like, some like Trump fanatic thought, the FBI is against them, So I gotta attack the fucking FBI building with my nail gun like I'm fucking Agent 47 or some shit. That didn't go well for that guy, right? It seemingly has gone a little bit better for Henson, considering that he has kept his life. Now, granted, let's see, after the crash, Henson allegedly exited the car, took an American flag out of the trunk, and stuck it on the gate. So he was there to, like, make a message. And he rammed his shit. He posted his fucking shit, and I think he tried to, like, make a break or something. But Henson had come to the FBI Pittsburgh office within the last few weeks to make a complaint, Giordano said, adding, "It didn't make a whole lot of sense. We contacted him and let him know that there was no federal crime we were able to charge," he said. So I think that that's what got Henson to this point. I mean, there's going to be details maybe to come and, add more light to that. But that being said, whatever reason causes this isn't good. It's not helpful. Like, if this is just some isolated, I have this grievance and I want to take it out on this building, this isn't the way, brother. If it's some fucking leftist thing, that's also not the way. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that, like, organization is the best way. You know what I mean? You're not catching me saying, "Oh my God, we need more violence." No, that's not the way. I think that is a very negative, impulsive thing that people want to do because they're just tired, they're frustrated, and they want to just brute force a thing. And that's never the fucking way. That's never the fucking means. And I know people will be like, well, there's this situation and then that situation. But it is more times than not too hard to sustain, too hard to hold, and inevitably there is a counter to that. There's an aftermath to that. No matter what, there is a loss of life along the way that you are doing that is not okay, that is not right. It doesn't justify the fucking means, right? I don't know. I feel like that's definitely something that we need to say, or I need to say more. Maybe not we, maybe it's just more of a me thing that I need to say more often. That being said, yes, am I still a depraved piece of shit for laughing at certain motherfuckers dying? Yeah, and that's not going to change. If I don't fucking like you, then I don't fucking like you. Yeah, I'm rooting for your downfall. All the way down. I know. Oh, I know. Isaiah, you're such an evil fucking hypocrite. Welcome to the show. Well, it's me, Isaiah. Hey, what's up? Don't cancel me. Which is also kind of making an aside. I have to say this before we move on to our next story, which is completely unrelated. But, man, dude, and I've had this conversation with some of my friends. I find it so fucking annoying. And I don't care if you're on the goddamn left or on the goddamn right, or you're smack dab in the fucking middle being a fucking prick about this shit. Cancel culture isn't real. You're being a fucking loser talking about that shit. It's crazy that in 2025 we're still doing this, where you have like a sore winner fucking administration fucking worrying about, oh, we're overly politicizing this and that and the third, and you have all these fucking conservatives talking about like, oh, you can't make a joke anymore, but now it's like, oh, if you make a joke, we're gonna try to get you fired. Which, that's another story that we're going to be getting into. But it's just like, brother, none of this shit it's all fucking vaporware. I mean, now granted, you got to deal with the job loss and shit like that. Okay, but that's something you can fucking come back from. Cancel culture is when a mob comes to your house with fucking pitchforks and stuff and you get like burned at the stake, fucking Frankenstein's monster style. Okay? When they fucking do you like Peter and they crucify you upside down or something, then we can talk about cancel culture, brother. But like, oh, they're booing me on X.com, or oh, no one's liking my stuff on Blue Sky. No, man, you're not the guy anymore. You're not that gal anymore. That's what this is. The show has moved on away from you because of whatever thing you've said or done or whatever. Maybe you just don't have the fucking motion anymore. Look within. Find your peace. Like, stop worrying about fucking cancel culture. I think that's just so fucking weird and cringe. And I know this is maybe coming out of nowhere, but that's another personal thing that I've kind of been hearing and dealing with sometimes with some people in circles I fuck with. And I'll see that shit online. And it's like, brother, I'll tell you two fucking things. For fucking certain. You're not canceled and you're not fucking shadow banned. Grow the fuck up. And I'm going to move on now. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was completely random, but that was on my mind. That's on my fucking two titties, and I wanted to get it off. Anyway, from ABC News. Body found in towed Tesla, registered to singer David, and we're going to say how his name is spelled here, D4vd, but I'm pretty sure it's David. Identified as 15-year-old girl. So, oof. I guess maybe we should say a trigger warning here. The body found in a towed Tesla that was registered to singer David has been identified as a 15-year-old girl, according to officials. A decomposing female body was discovered in the trunk of the Tesla on September 8th, 2 days after it had been towed from a Los Angeles street, police sources said. The Los Angeles County medical examiner identified the victim Wednesday as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. I'm gonna say Rivas. The teen from Lake Elsinore. I'm gonna say Elsinore in Riverside County was reported missing last year and hadn't been found or hadn't been heard from since. Investigators confirmed on to ABC News. The circumstances of how she died and ended up in the front trunk are unclear, investigators told ABC News. The cause of death is still being determined. The Los Angeles Police Department's robbery homicide division is leading the investigation. No arrests have been made. This, to me, is a very perplexing story that when I initially heard about it, which was like maybe a day after, it started making the rounds on September 8th, I was like, I really want to cover this, but we don't have enough information. And David is still on fucking tour. And what I had gathered that at that point, at the very least, was that they were communicating, like David and the police. And it seemed that he wasn't enough of a suspect where they're like, you got to drop everything and come here now. We're coming to get you, arrest you now. So I was like, well, I want to wait and maybe see what comes next, or if I get any more details or information. And I got some more details, but they were less tenuous. I feel like it wasn't leading to anything of like real evidence. So I was like, well, let's wait for, some more information, more things to pop out. Once again, maybe more action from law enforcement. It seems like that's still maybe a bit up in the air, but we do have David not fully canceling his tour, but he is at least, there's a Seattle show coming up, and he has canceled like the second visit. So it's like, okay, like he's eventually said he was going to come and talk to them. So now that we're getting more details about the victim, because that's another thing too. Initially, we had no name. We just there was a decomposed, dismembered body, and there was a tattoo on the body that had like shh, like little shh, be quiet type thing. I think Rihanna has a similar tattoo. And then another detail that I picked up that I believe David also has the same tattoo, and also that they've interacted with each other. That's like new things that have kind of come up and is making the social media rounds now. So it's like, oh, and not to mention the mother, Celeste's mother has said, yeah, I'm sure that she was dating someone named David at some point. So it's like, okay, so these things are adding up in a really bad way if you're a David enjoyer, which I gotta say, I listened to the one song he did for Invincible. That song is, dare I say, now a controversial banger, potentially. I don't know, but yeah, I don't remember the name of the song. Anyway, that's not important. Authorities located the body in the front trunk of the Tesla that was in a state of decomposition. LAPD sources said. Also, there was like a smell coming out of the car from the impound lot where the Tesla was left. And also the Tesla was in whose name but David's. The victim was about 5'1" with wavy black hair and wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal bracelet, and metal stud earrings, according to the medical examiner. She also had a tattoo on her right index finger that said shh. The victim appears to have been dead for some time, adding to the complexity of the investigation, sources said following the discovery. The Tesla had been at the impound lot for 2 days after being found abandoned on an Hollywood street, investigators said. The vehicle is registered to 20-year-old David Anthony Burke, known professionally as David, according to a senior LAPD source. It is one of several vehicles owned by the musician, with many different people using any of the vehicles at any given time, the source added. And that was a detail that was mentioned when I initially started looking and kind of peeling at this story, which gave me pause to like run and cover it immediately. Because I didn't want to say, oh, it's definitely him, he definitely fucking did it, when there's totally a chance that he didn't. And also, the point I was making earlier, if the cops were so sure it was him, wouldn't they move quickly, right? Or is it the idea of like, well, he's on tour, we don't want to scare the guy, maybe he like tries to run or something, I don't know, maybe it's some kind of mix of column A, column B here, or a third thing that we don't know. But that's why I wanted to kind of rest on my laurels, I wanted to hold my horses, if you will, and I kind of waited until now to talk about it. But it's I'm like, if not now, when, right? It's kind of what I said, so that's why we're yapping about it now. Let's see. But yeah, he's on his Withered World Tour. The tour stop in Seattle on Wednesday was canceled. So, we'll see. And they're saying here the stop period and not the second show. So I don't know. I will definitely keep you posted, man. This one, ooh, it's dark. Regardless, we still have someone chopped up in a fucking Tesla. Damn, like that's fucked. That's macabre ass fucking shit. And yeah, I definitely want to know details on this shit. Like what happened? Like what's going on? Who's gonna get charged? Right? That's important. So yeah. But let's go ahead and move on. Take a quick little water break here. I'm yapping it up myself. I'm yap maxing. We gotta talk about a yapper who looks like they might be out of a job. Oh gosh. All right, this story comes from The Hill. ABC takes Jimmy Kimmel off air indefinitely over Charlie Kirk comments. ABC is taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air indefinitely over comments the late night host made about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, according to multiple reports. The decision, announced Wednesday, came just minutes after Nexstar Media Group said its affiliate stations across the county will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live starting Wednesday over his comments. Kimmel, during his show on Monday night, said the country hit some new lows over the weekend, when the MAGA gang desperately tried to characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. The comedian accused conservative Republicans of trying to score political points from Kirk's death. I will definitely agree with the very last point, for sure. Obviously, things are still up in debate about like where Robinson kind of falls on the fucking ideology. I've personally said I don't really feel like this shit fucking matters. Obviously it's going to be something that's going to be in the discourse, but no matter what, whether the person's left or right, it's going to be, used as a narrative against the other fucking side. This is tale as old as fucking time, right? At the end of the day, I think we all can fucking agree that we don't want to fucking see this shit fucking happen again, right? Like, once again, yes, did I fucking make some jokes? Oh yeah, the squirt. Yeah, I did. And I'm still laughing about that fucking shit. But that's because it inevitably was going to fucking happen to Charlie. I don't have any fucking means to stop that fucking train. Now, I would like it to not happen again to more fucking people, but what does America want? They want to keep doing this because they are not going to make any fucking changes. There's no policy changes from the right or the left. Not enough to fucking make this shit matter, and they know it. So what are we doing? We're going to keep pointing the fingers at each other and saying, we can do that. We need to do something about this. We need to do something about that. We need to do something about the parents. We need to worry about the fucking locked doors so our students don't get fucking shot. Like, we're going to keep doing this shit over and over and over again. I don't know what else to do but to add levity and then just kind of say the points and keep it moving. And, I guess Jimmy Kimmel decided to say, hey, I'm going to fucking keep it a buck with y'all on this shit. That being said, and I got to add this. This is kind of a lot like the Colbert thing. Actually, it's a little bit less than the Colbert thing, because I at least liked Colbert for a point. Jimmy Kimmel, I'm not the biggest fucking fan. I'm just not. Talk show hosts in general, I'm kind of cool on him after Craig Ferguson kind of left the game. I don't really give a shit. Do your thing, yap it up, make your fucking money. But isn't it kind of weird that now that I'm looking at the scene, is Jimmy Fallon the only one left? That fucking alcoholic motherfucker, allegedly, whatever, but like, that man does not have a personality. And I guess that's what's kept him in the game for as long as he had. That being said, I do also want to add that I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is some liberal bastion because he's cried over Donald Trump or whatever, and like, I have kids. Like, okay, like, all right, man. Jimmy Kimmel's older shit is not stuff that I'm like, oh man, what a cool, wholesome, moral guy. I don't really care. Not that I'm trying to be like, oh, I never forget or forgive, but also I generally just don't think you're that funny, bub. I don't really care. But that being said, I do think he was keeping it real here. Kimmel then attacked President Trump, joking that he was mourning Charlie Kirk the way a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. Nexstar, in its announcement, said it strongly objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC-affiliated markets. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the local communities in which we are located. Andrew Alford, president of Nexstar's broadcasting division, said a statement. There's some yada 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 here. I'm going to move on. Nexstar, which owns The Hill, Wow, that's small. That's a big umbrella they got there, huh? Small world. Is the largest provider of local news in the country, with affiliate stations in dozens of markets across the United States. It also owns News Nation and the CW. The comedian's comments have been widely condemned by conservative media figures in recent days. And on Wednesday, Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr called his comments some of the sickest conduct possible. Because bro had a negative opinion about Donald Trump. And essentially, Donald Trump really does have a fucking brain of a goldfish on this shit. Because they were asking him about it. And like halfway through his fucking thought, he's talking about like White House infrastructure, like building shit. Like he's just like, oh, look at this new thing. We get to do all this cool. Doesn't it look nice? Like, and you could say, well, oh, that's him doing some fucking deflecting. No, it is the fact that the dude could kind of care less at this point. He already told everybody to put the flags at half mast. He called him a legend. At this point, Trump has done more than enough. I think they even gave the motherfucker a medal. Like, for once again, being a yapper, being a fucking influencer. They turned that motherfucker into an activist for being a fucking annoying debater. Okay, all right, sure, man, but don't besmirch his fucking name, because then you're just like the terrorists. And it's crazy. Like once again, I don't think that this take is that wild, that crazy. Once again, we are talking about a late night talk show host, a comedian, if you will. But the woke right, they won't let them have it. They won't let them have it. So they're like, we got to call the jobs. We got to fucking pull the fucking, cards out. Which is crazy because this is a tactic that they literally would just call people social justice warriors about, for years and years and years. But of course, and also the funny irony is, free speech activist, maximalist, warrior like Charlie Kirk would definitely say that this is something that shouldn't be happening. You should be allowed to say the things that you want to say. This is a free country. That's one of your amendment rights. But meanwhile, we also know that Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA would also rally the fucking demons and say, hey, you need to like bombard this fucking school and get this fucking teacher fired because they said being trans is okay. Just like insert issue here, what have you. Or, let's rally the fucking forces and like make sure that Trump gets this done, wins this thing or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this was that guy. And we're talking once again about, but like, no free speech for the other side. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. And an even bigger punchline to this fucking shit are these networks that are gonna fucking LARP and pretend that they care about the right or they care about the fucking left. And they don't. They don't care about the fucking anybody. They only care about ratings. They want people to show up for their stupid little shows so that they can get their fucking money, so they can collect the fucking bag. They don't give a fuck about you or me or whatever the fuck we believe in or say we fucking think and care about. They're like, no, you don't really give a fuck about that. You want slop, and we want to give you the slop. So shut the fuck up. What is going to make you shut the fuck up and take the slop? And if they got to get rid of a Jimmy Kimmel, I think they're just down to do it because shit, they got rid of fucking Stephen Colbert for the same kind of fucking shit. So, you got to make Daddy Trump happy, and you get him happy, you get his little base quiet, then you can just keep fucking, pushing the TV on people. I guess. I mean, I'm not watching the shit either way, so it makes no difference to fucking me. But yeah, I think this is a very annoying tactic, but I cannot lie to you. I cannot lie to you. We can't be surprised that the right is finally fucking, taking momentum for this. Because once again, they are sore winners. They are mad that they've won with the fucking Donald Trump winning this fucking shit. And people are still like, oh, wow, this fucking sucks. Boo. And they're like, how dare you boo? How dare you boo this? We got to do something about them booing. Motherfucker, you've won. You're driving your policies with the goddamn battering ram. It's only a matter of time for some of this fucking shit, unfortunately. Yet still, it's like, be quiet, shut up, or you'll lose your fucking job. Wild, dude. It's fucking insane behavior. But I think people on the left thought they were really doing something, that this was their fucking good deed by like fucking bombarding people and doing the same fucking shit, right? So this is live by the sword, die by the sword in its own kind of way. I mean, I can support and understand when it happens for one thing, but I gotta understand when it happens from the other side, when they do the same fucking thing, right? So I won't be surprised by it. I won't be taken aback, clutch my pearls. Like, no, man. Like, sadly, this comes with the territory when you want to speak up and speak out and say the shit that you need to say on your chest, right? And that sucks because in a way we all have things to lose. I mean, I'm glad that I don't have any kind of fucking sponsorships or anything on this show that I have to worry about getting yanked. I mean, of course, I would love to make some fucking money, but whatever, no big deal. But shit, I know motherfuckers could come from my fucking job. You could do your fucking research and figure out me, what I'm about, where I'm from, and try to fucking disrupt my bag. But I mean, that's crazy low stakes. That's wild ass fucking low stakes. And if you want it that bad, I guess you can fucking come take it, liberal. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that once again, that is part of this process, is part of this whole thing for me. That is the reason I do it, so that I have a place to shout out into the void and know that someone can listen. So, I mean, I guess if you listen and you got that passionate about it, then I guess good for both of us. I guess we're both living to our best life. I don't know. It's crazy you want to make that an anime, but whatever. Honestly, I knock on some wood. I don't want that to happen. I don't want the smoke, okay? But at the same time, I'm not going to stop what I'm fucking doing. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm glad I'm a fucking nobody. I'm not a bigwig like Jimmy Kimmel and his soft ass beard. I'm talking shit. Why am I talking so much shit? I'm getting hot. I'm getting heated. I was about to say R.I.P. Jimmy Kimmel. No. Oh shit. We have one more story that I wanted to cover, and then I'll let you go. Like I said, the woke right strikes again. Not really. This is just, once again, more businesses being businesses, if I'm being honest. But we got to talk about Ben. We got to talk about Jerry. We got to talk about Ben and Jerry's. We got to talk about some good ass fucking ice cream. Anyway, I'm going to take my last break and we'll close out. Whew. All right. From the Associated Press. Jerry quits Ben and Jerry's, saying its independence on social issues has been stifled. Ben and Jerry's co-founder, Jerry Greenfield, is leaving the ice cream brand after 47 years, saying that the independence it once had to speak up on social issues has been stifled by its parent company, Unilever. In a letter which co-founder Ben Cohen posted on social media on Greenfield's behalf, Greenfield said he could not in good conscience remain at Ben & Jerry's, citing a loss of independence to Unilever, which he said had once agreed to give Ben & Jerry's autonomy around its social mission when it acquired the brand more than 2 decades ago. Surprise, surprise, they lied. For more than 20 years under their ownership, Ben & Jerry's stood up and spoke out in support of peace, justice, and human rights. Not as abstract concepts, but in relation to real events happening in our world, Greenfield wrote. It's profoundly disappointing to come to the conclusion that independence, the very basis for of our sale to Unilever, is gone. I want to make a stop right here, though, because they said that they did this initially, when they made their fucking shit coming out of Vermont or whatever, and they made this big deal with Unilever. I want to say it was like around 2000. So this is like, almost 2 decades ago, right? They made this deal so that they could progress their social mission. And I'm like, that all sounds well and good on paper. And I do believe it because, Greenfield has, been out. He's been protesting. He's been, trying to make any kind of ways, say the things that he needs to say. Stand up against fucking genocide. Stand up against the fucking, social ills of this fucking world right now. I'm fucking with that. Cool fucking shit. I'm about that. But to say that you're doing this for these reasons when really it's like, once again, you're being handed a giant bag to do said things, like that's what it is. So you made a big transaction and they made this deal with you, but obviously that was squishy enough for them to kind of override, dude. It's not like you actually have the control to really stop them once you give it up. And this is kind of proof of it. Ben & Jerry's famous for its colorful ice cream containers with flavor names such as Cherry Garcia and Fish Food, has also been long known for its progressive political values, speaking out on a range of social issues over the years. And in his letter late Tuesday, Greenfield noted that the brand's loss of independence arrived at a time when the U.S. or at a time in the U.S. when the Trump administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ community. Standing up for the values of justice, justice, equity, and our shared humanity has never been more important. And yet Ben & Jerry's has been silenced, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power, he wrote. Tensions between Ben & Jerry and its parent have heightened in recent years, with the ice cream brand accusing Unilever of silencing its statements in support of Palestinians amid Israel's war in Gaza, among other conflicts. And Greenfield's departure also arises as a consumer product giant based in London getting another fucking mention, is spinning off its ice cream business into a standalone company called the Magnum Ice Cream Company. This is to my dear listeners, because I did have some people sound off, and I'm appreciative, grateful, that the Goodles mac and cheese is apparently a hit. Apparently it's yummy, it's good, so I need to try that. It's on my fucking list. But I'm putting a sound off now. Is Magnum ice cream any good? Because I don't think I've had it. If I did, it was very offhand. Like there's this chocolate bar, like little frozen thing. You know, you can have that, and I had it, and I was like, oh, this is fine. That's if I've eaten that. I don't know, but I mean, I'm more of a Ben & Jerry's guy, straight the fuck up. Like I think that their flavors are good. I know I talk shit on fucking Jimmy Fallon, but the one that they had with him on it, that was the best one. They put fucking chips in that shit. It was like chocolate chip cookie dough with chips, and I'm like, that's insane, brother. This doesn't make any fucking sense, but it was just so yummy. It was so fucking good. So, I mean, I just really wasn't fucking with Magnum, and if I wasn't fucking with Ben & Jerry's, I'd probably be a Haagen-Dazs girl. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Magnum just doesn't really appeal to me. It always feels like one of those brands that's like almost like trying to be highfalutin. Like, oh, you're too good for me? You're too good for me with your ice cream? No, you're not. I'll go to Ben. I'll go to Jerry's. I fuck with them. They love me. They making late night snack or whatever the fuck. They making Americone Dream. I fuck with that. Once again, another talk show ice cream. That was a banger. Anyway. In a statement on Wednesday, a spokesperson for Magnum said it would be forever grateful to Greenfield for his contributions to Ben & Jerry's and thanked him for his service, but was not aligned with his viewpoint. They're like, cool, we're going to miss you, bud, but like, fuck out of here. Which once again, I'm not surprised to hear, because essentially you're fucking with the bag, Jerry, bro. You're not on fucking path with us right now. You're doing a whole little social thing. We don't care about that. Because once again, these businesses only care about the fucking bag, bro. They don't care about people dying. Sadly, they don't. That's not a fucking real issue to them. Being quiet and making money is. And they're just willing to be like, yeah, no, shut the fuck up, man, and get the fuck out of here. Stop trying to fucking spoil the badge. Let's see. I'm going to fast forward through the Magnum segment. I really don't care about it. But meanwhile, Greenfield and Cohen have been pushing for Ben & Jerry's to be allowed to become an independently owned company again, saying in a letter to Magnum's board that they don't believe the brand should be a part of a corporation that doesn't support its founding mission. And this is what I'm kind of curious about. At this point, especially if you're focusing on this Magnum brand, like what is Unilever getting out of it now from Ben & Jerry's? Do they just want to keep the name and like poach the money? Like, you know, do you just not want to give it up for them? Because it's like you literally now have your competition in-house. You can kind of just phase them out, do some Magnum funny flavors or whatever. I don't know, exotic flavor, whatever they fucking would pitch it. I'm not a madman. But like what is the end game? What is the goal at this point? I would like to know. Maybe I need to do some digging. But yeah, whatever. It really doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. Ben & Jerry's has been at odds with Unilever for a while. In March, Ben & Jerry's said that its CEO was unlawfully removed by Unilever in retaliation for the ice cream maker's social and political activism. In a federal court filing, Ben & Jerry's said that Unilever informed its board on March 3rd that it was removing and replacing Ben & Jerry's CEO David Stever, and Ben & Jerry said that violated its merger agreement with Unilever, which states that any decision regarding a CEO's removal must come after a consultation with an advisory committee from Ben & Jerry's board. So yeah, I mean, that sounds hard and fast, and I hope a judge agrees with that. But I could also see a judge saying, I mean, yeah, this seems like a very vibes-based agreement that you guys tried to put on paper. And, maybe this actually isn't unlawful, what they did. And they just go, okay. And then we just move on from this. Because once again, it's a deal that you signed. You signed the fucking company away to them. I don't know, man. But once again, I mean, I'm rooting for Ben & Jerry and all that they do, whether they are together, whether they are separate. I hope that the ice cream stays. I don't know what the future of Ben & Jerry's is from here. That's why I'm asking these fucking questions about Magnum, stinky ass Magnum. not the gun or the condom, but the ice cream. Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's really all I have for today. I feel like I've got it out. I've got it off my chest, right? So we're good. We'll leave it there. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Whatever platform you like to listen. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars are appreciated. But really, I just appreciate you hanging out with me, letting me hang out with you while you go through your day, you do your thing. It's always lovely. Always appreciate that. So yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.